Hey everybody, welcome back to the Brave Friends of Musashi commentary. We're continuing on with the ancient ruins beneath the restaurant. How is your Wednesday?
So everything about this area is giving me serious, like, old school PlayStation vibes, and I know that's an obvious thing to say, but it's very nostalgic in a weird way for me. Like there were a lot of levels that look pretty much like this one in old games I played. Crash 3 being the obvious one, but also Gex 3 and Tomb Raider.
Three.
Just every Tomb Raider, okay?
But specifically 3.
Yeah.
Was 3 on the PlayStation 1, or was that the...
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
It was
PlayStation.
the second to last one on the PlayStation.
There were two others on the PlayStation after that, actually. I think
Was there?
There were
I don't last
five
Revelation.
Tomb Raiders on PlayStation?
it was
Well, no,
like,
because after 3, that's when it became multi-platform.
Oh, okay.
well,
but,
there was one game about. It wasn't just after 3 that it became multi-platform. I'm not sure if Angel of Darkness was multi-platform actually. It was Legend, I think, that was definitely multi-platform, and that was the soft reboot.
I know Revelation was multi-platform.
Oh, you guys are talking, like, Sony in general, but I was asking, like, PS1.
PS1.
Yeah.
There was a Tomb Raider 4 on PS1.
Revelation, I believe, is technically
Okay.
the fourth game.
Okay.
Well, fourth released.
Block
Oh,
cliffing
you know what?
puzzles.
I don't even need to like look up Wikipedia for this one. I have the entire series on frickin' Steam. I'm pretty sure that there were PC versions of all the other ones back then. Just,
Right.
judging by how hard it is to get the PC versions on Steam to run.
Was there a Saturn version of Tomb Raider 1?
There might have been. Not really
You want to
sure.
know what
I
I
wanna see what that
love?
looks
When 90s versions of... When versions of 90s games that had a PC version that was typically bad get ported to something like Steam, and instead of porting the good console version, they port the bad PC version.
Well, they don't port it. They just sort of plop it onto the system in digital format with like the CD lock disabled or something. But
Yeah.
let's see. Oh, I've got my game list set to installed. Right. That's not going to show me the other Tomb Raider games. I haven't
Just
installed
look
them
up
because-
Wikipedia.
Right. There's Tomb Raider Chronicles and Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation.
The Last Revelation, there you
So there's two of them on the PS1 before the Angel of Darkness, which was the PS2 game. And then there's Legend, Anniversary, and Underworld, which was the PS2 360 generation soft reboot.
5 games on one console's a lot.
Yeah,
Like...
yeah, it's kind of obvious that Core was getting burnt out, like majorly burnt out. And they tried killing off Lara Croft in the third game, but it didn't stop their publishers from pressuring them to make more games. So
Yeah, we can't sell something that's dead.
yes, you can.
yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog's still around.
We're not ready. No, Sonic's dying.
I mean,
If he's been dying for 15 goddamn years, then he's already dead. Okay.
they got around it kind of admirably by making the next game be about people telling stories about Lara Croft while she was alive, so they didn't exactly
Yeah.
bring her back. But then Angel of Darkness happened, and
It's the entire game. As you remember when Lara Croft did this? Yeah, I remember.
then Angel of Darkness happened, and it's like she came back, and she's really pissed off about dying, and
Wait, so they just have her come back to life?
well, she didn't really die, but she's pissed off about being left for dead or something. It's really kind of edgy stuff, you know.
You see, I have to try really hard to remember that Lara Croft is inherently kind of silly. Because, like, you fight dinosaurs and stuff in these games.
In the first game, yeah, there's velociraptors.
So, but it's just like, I feel like it's one of those franchises that, you know, has those silly elements, but also tries to be serious a lot of the time.
It's more like Angel of Darkness was trying to be grim and dark because that's the time period it was when it was released. But
Okay.
that's the only game in the series that in the original series anyway that made that mistake, because when Legend happened, they went back to, cocky Indiana Jones shenanigans, and it really works for Legend, I'll say. But
I know
Yeah.
that the reboot is much more down to earth as well. So
Yeah,
there's no,
for
like,
better and for worse. Yeah, it's
Velociraptors or random Indiana Jones temple traps or whatever. So, question about what's happening on screen for a moment. Can you control what you're doing right now, or is that
You
an
control
auto-
the ghost.
You control the ghost? Okay.
Yeah. Because basically what happens here is that the area darkens the moment you step foot inside of it, and you can't see the pathway. So what you do is that you absorb the ghost to have the out-of-body experience to see the pathway, and you got to memorize it.
Okay.
fortunately
Or
when
trial and error.
fortunately when
Or
you
trial
fall,
and
you
error,
just
yeah.
fortunately when you fall, you just zip back to the platform that you were previously on.
Yeah.
So,
By the way, there's a secret room here, and underneath this, the exit. Please do get it, because while you can revisit this area later,
It's a pain in the ass.
it's a pain in the ass to get back to. Well, it's just a pain in the ass to backtrack. So keep an eye on your radar. Because another thing that I don't think we really talked about in the game itself is that you can tell if a Binchotite is close by when the gold ring around sushi. I was gonna call sushi. What was the glowing ring around Musashi's icon on the bottom right there starts blinking red.
Brave Fencer Sushi.
conveniently, the
Brave Fencer
teleporter
Musashi.
conveniently the teleporter in there takes you up to the main platform you were going for. So
Yes.
Can you do these challenges in whatever order you want?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. I like it when games let you do that.
All 4 doors are available whenever. So you send to the ones you want.
And is there any reason to do one over the other than just getting it over with?
Just getting it over with.
Yeah.
I always like to do the one with the bowling first because I get the bowl ability, and that allows me to break that secret wall inside the ancient ruins. So if I can get those treasure chests now rather than later, then I'll do it now.
So when you assimilate enemies, do
Right.
you get to keep all of the abilities in like a list?
No. It is
Uh-oh.
only what you currently have on the sword right now.
Oh,
Missed opportunity. Something that I think that would make for a good sequel.
So,
is,
like, if you get the ability from the thing, and then you can switch it on whenever you want, pretty much?
Basically, yeah.
Like, Aria of Sorrow or Bloodstained?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you absorb multiple copies of the enemy. Like don't have them respawn as often, but you absorb multiple copies of the enemy. You can make it stronger. Some other thing, you know.
Even just having the variety of moves to be able to use
Yeah.
would be cool.
Absolutely. There's a lot of neat ideas that Brave Fencer Musashi introduces, introduces, yeah. Just
Brave
filling out
Fencer
the
Musashi.
the Johnnyisms for the BrainScratch catalog.
Now, I'm just picturing, what does the interdouche look like? Like, he's obviously wearing, like, sunglasses, you know, and, like,
Popped collar.
pop collar. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what I was saying though is Musashi introduces a lot of concepts and runs for some capacity, but doesn't take full advantage of them that a sequel would be able to do so. But again, there was never a sequel to this game, so what can you do? What is that? What is Lewis breathing really hard again?
I just, had the... We're talking
Coughing
about
fit.
a sequel to this game that definitely doesn't exist,
Right.
cough, you know?
One day it'll happen.
Like how... like, it happens whenever somebody brings up a sequel to The Matrix. It's just like, oh, man, I really wish that movie had a sequel.
I'm surprised it never made a sequel to Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, I know, right?
hey, Chrono Cross is a good game. Come on.
It's just not Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger.
at all.
Yeah, it's
Do
good,
you wanna know-
but
So something kind of skeevy. I don't know how old this is, but on the Chrono Trigger, I think it's Steam webpage or whatever, they're crediting the different people who worked on it, and it's just like, oh,
But-
Yuji
but
Horii,
not,
who wrote the game, and then they say, and the makers of Final Fantasy, suspiciously not mentioning Nobuo Uematsu or what's his name,
Hinorobu
Sakaguchi.
Sakaguchi.
Yeah, it's just like, they don't work for us anymore, so screw them. It's like, wow, guys, bad look there.
Well, you gotta tell me that Hatsune Miku made Final Fantasy as well.
No, Hatsune Miku only made Minecraft.
Right. How does she do it?
I don't know. She's just multi-talented like that.
Just goes and develops games in her downtime, which is not singing.
Well, isn't she a computer program, like, in the lore of...
She's a Vocaloid.
Yeah, I know, but aren't, like, I don't know the deep Hatsune Miku
Well, neither do
lore.
I, to be fair.
But, because, like...
they're digital idols, essentially. Like
Yeah, but like what that means in universe.
no, in universe, that's what they are. They're digital
but-
idols.
I thought that like one of them was like the left speaker of your computer and one of them was the right speaker.
I don't know about
your
any of
computer?
that because that never comes up in the Hatsune Miku games I've played. Like, I don't think there's even a single continuity, to be honest. I think like each game has its own kind of story-ish thing going on. Not that it matters outside of Project Eva X, which is like the only game I've played that has a story mode in game, but.
Like, I mean, I know that you're not playing Hatsune Miku for the deep lore. You're playing it because you think she's cute and you want to rub her anime face.
Or maybe you just like the Vocaloid music. That's a thing too.
That seems, I don't know, like.
I mean,
People
some
like-
quite a bit of it actually is quite good.
I
There's
played
a
Dead
lot.
or Alive for the plot.
There's a lot of variety in Vocaloid music, and some of it is really quite good. But the other thing, though, is that, like, well, outside Project Eva X, which was kind of lame in this respect, the actual music videos that you're playing the rhythm game to are often really, like, well-directed music videos, you know?
It's just a shame that you're never looking at any of them because that's a typical rhythm game problem. Where it's just like, oh
Well,
wow,
you're-
there's this great flashy background going on that I'm not paying a single bit of attention to because it's all about the arrows.
Well, it's the rhythm stuff that happens in a Hatsune Miku game is literally all over the screen. So you're going to be seeing the video whether you're paying attention to it or not, because your eyes are
Yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah, that's true, but you're not like registering it is the thing. Like,
Part of the challenge in playing Hatsune Miku is trying to play the rhythm game in spite of the visual distraction. And there's a lot of it.
Oh, now you have Fire Van Beeson.
Pretty much more of the same, only they do damage on direct contact now. So
They look
Don't
like
wanna
they
touch it.
should be from like the This Is Fine guy.
yeah. So I would recommend having BO as your ability keeps the bats away in that one platformer segment. It was good then. Wouldn't recommend doing that here because you need a specific bat, the one with the lantern, to swoop in at you and absorb their ability. It allows you to illuminate the path. Because the dark areas suck. There's spiked floors all over the place that do an obnoxious amount of damage.
Or
It's
you
just
could
not a good
just
time.
not land on the spikes.
If you can't see them, and how would you know they're there unless you play like 1,000 hours of this game?
Are you saying that you're not good enough to painstakingly memorize where each spike is in the
I
game?
am currently.
I don't know if you're a true gamer enough, John.
I don't. I'm currently only 999 hours in it. I'm not 1,000, so no, I'm not a gamer. yet.
If this
No,
were more of a modern game, you could probably see the environment while you're in the dark if you looked very
Yeah.
carefully. But PlayStation 1 dark areas tended to be absolute pitch black. So
Just turn the
No
brightness
amount
on your
of
TV
brightness
up.
and contrast gonna make that obvious. Oh, lo and behold, though, we got all four eyes lit up, but the restaurant owner went and moved on ahead with this. It's like he only wants the treasure for himself.
how did you get in there before I opened the door?
It probably opens up via like a like a grocery screen door. If you just get close to it, it just opens up. So this motherfucker is just using us to get to the treasure, but unfortunately for him, the thing inside the treasure chest is one of the legendary pieces of armor, which doesn't mean diddly deck to him because he can't do anything with it.
Well, he could sell it to us at an obnoxious markup.
Well, he doesn't know what
know
it
what
is.
it
To him,
is, yeah.
to him, it just looks like a tattered old belt. So,
He could still sell it to us at a ridiculous markup.
He's
We'd buy it. We're a RPG character. We'll buy stupid
we've
stuff.
got-
for way
I
too
don't
much
have
money.
enough item space to take the legendary equipment. All right, so I guess
Throw the cheese.
no, the cheese is good. The cheese is one of the only food items in the game that gets better with age.
I am better than the
I
bologna
am
and the
better than
salami
the
co-op.
W gel and the bagel combined.
Oh, so I watched the what's it called? The Static Cling Rocco thing, and
Right.
it's Rocco's Modern Life is way more surreal than I remember it being.
Well, you probably hadn't watched it in 20 years.
I hadn't watched it in 20 years, that's true, but I don't remember it being that bizarre. Like I remember Ren
It
and
was always that
Stimpy.
bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah, and but the thing is, I remember Ren and Stimpy being that weird.
Well, Ren and Stimpy is loud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
And
Rocco,
more vulgar.
yeah, but I don't remember Rocco being that like bizarre. Is just the thing.
It is, like I said, it's just not as loud about it.
Okay, maybe I figured like if I go back, then maybe I'll, like be like, okay, no, it actually was this weird the entire time. Didn't understand when I was 6 years
One
old.
of their sporting events is literally riding a jackhammer.
So what was the belt?
All right, so the belt is the legendary belt, which allows us to double jump. But we can't appraise the item now because the store is closed. So let me take for a second here. Okay, we're good.
Mom, the kid's sleeping in front of our store again.
I would love it if when you fall asleep in front of a door, if you sleep during the time it opens, it just flaps you.
It just slaps you and like immediately wakes you up. Yeah, I would love that.
In other games, like more serious open world games, there are consequences for just resting wherever you wanted. Like in Baldur's Gate, the guards will get on your case if you try to rest outside of an inn in town, so you have to go to the inns in towns. In the Elder Scrolls, if you rest outside, like if you find a bandit camp with like sleeping bags in it and use the sleeping bag to sleep, you can get bit by vampires. And that turns you into a vampire, which launches this whole quest to either like be a vampire properly or to cure your vampirism, depending on how you want to play it. It's actually pretty cool.
Don't you just hate when you're going camping and you wake up and you're a vampire?
Every night of my life.
Actually, being a vampire in Oblivion is a pain in the ass.
Can you not go out during the day?
I think you get severely weakened during the day. I'm not really sure. It depends on what. I don't remember exactly what breed of vampire you become in Oblivion. It might be the ones that become more human-looking the more they feed.
Oh, so if you don't feed, you become like a Nosferatu kind of
Yeah.
thing. Actually, that was kind of Dracula, too, because I read the book for that about a year ago, and whenever he ate blood, looked younger, was another thing.
Ate blood.
That book's wild. There's just randomly a cowboy at one point,
Quincy.
and they just like, that's just like, hey, we needed a cowboy.
Yeah,
in this book.
he's the guy who finishes Dracula off, but he's also the only one to die.
Yeah, he also like at one point just randomly shoots his gun in the middle of the house because he thought there was a vampire there. There wasn't.
If I remember correctly, Quincy is Quincy Morris, right? Is he?
I think so? Question mark?
I think.
Like in Bram Stoker's Dracula? Or?
Yeah, Bram Stoker is the guy who wrote the original.
Yeah,
Dracula.
like there's some weird connections in Castlevania to characters from Dracula. In Castlevania lore, Dracula is supposed to be like a story that happens in the middle of things. So like Jonathan Morris and his father are like descended from one of the characters in Dracula or something.